Hey guys, what's up? So I was getting this weird bug on my Yahoo Finance app for some reason. So I think it was on Thursday, I logged into my Yahoo Finance app and I wanted to check the price of Hyliion. But for some reason, the chart and the price, it was going up. Right? Like it was green, so that didn't make any sense, right? So I reported this bug to Yahoo Finance, and then on Friday, surely enough, they fixed the issue, right? It was red again, but yeah, that was kind of a weird bug. I'm glad that Yahoo Finance is taking these things seriously because I do rely on them for all my financial information. So I am glad to see that Yahoo Finance finally fixed the issue with the Hyliion price bug. And now, all jokes aside though, I have been getting a lot of questions from the community asking me to talk about Hyliion. Now, I thought I was done talking about this stock for a while, but apparently not. The price just keeps going down and it just keeps going down. So we're at the point where I'm just doing a casual scroll through Hyliion's Reddit page, and it's just bringing up a flood of negative comments and posts. So you guys know I have been invested in Hyliion for a long time, since before the merger IPO, so I thought I'd spend some time today talking about the stock once again. In particular though, we're going to talk about why I think the stock is crashing, what it would take for Hyliion stock to kind of come back from the dead, and what I'm doing with the stock, whether or not I'm going to sell it or I'm just going to hold it going forward, and what's my plan going forward. Okay, so before I begin though, if you're in Canada, don't forget to get your free $10 when you sign up and invest your first $100 worth of stocks on Wealthsimple Trade, or put your investments on autopilot with Wealthsimple Invest. And the sign up bonus for Invest is $50 when you sign up and deposit your first $500. And links for those are both down below in the description as always. Okay, so first, am I panic selling out of my Hyliion shares? And if you've been watching this channel for a while, you probably already can guess the answer to that question. The answer is no, by the way. So I still have my 325 shares, and as you can see, my current cost basis is $24.50 per share. And as you can see, I'm down about 28% at the moment. And yeah, if your cost basis is higher than mine, then you'd be in a lot worse situation, right? So I know people were buying the stock back when it was in like the 40s and 50s, and if you bought in that high, is obviously not a good situation to be in, right? So, sorry, voice crack there. And if I'm being honest, it probably would have been smart for me to take some profits while it was in the 40s and 50s, but I didn't. You know, this is kind of a learning experience for myself as well as for you watching the video. Is that if you make it big on like a speculative bet, it's probably good to take some profits. Now, lesson learned, right? So we're all learning this together, and I kind of learned this the hard way. But anyways, I'm not a prophet, right? I didn't expect the stock to crash this hard, obviously. But we're talking about long term. Like, again, like I said in the last update video I made about Hyliion, nothing fundamental has changed about the company. So the company that people are paying like $50 for, well, it's the exact same company that you can buy now for $17 a share. So this means that all the price action that we've seen in this stock is simply due to market sentiment. So I want you to remember that word, right? Sentiment. So that's all this is. I mean, you could try to do some deep fundamental analysis on the company, but at this point, for a company like Hyliion, who's like super early stage, I just think that fundamental analysis is not even that useful because there are just too many unknowns, right? You'd have to use the company's projections, like their own projections, and obviously you're going to end up with like a pretty high price target if you use their projections, right? Because they're not going to paint like a picture that the company is going to go down in the future, right? And if you use your own projections, well, then you're going to have to kind of make a lot of assumptions, and you could be easily wrong. So the way I think about it is, well, first of all, I don't look at the stock price, okay? So that helps. But the way I think about it is that we're really going to see whether or not having renewable natural gas as the power source to power semi-trucks is going to be like a thing, right? It's going to work out or not. We're going to see that kind of come to fruition or not within the next few years. So if we do see the industry really come out and adopt natural gas as a viable power source, kind of this transitional power source, before we can get like pure electric infrastructure going, well, if companies really start adopting renewable natural gas, well, I think that Hyliion will just succeed by default. Sure, you could argue that what if a competitor pops out of nowhere and just takes Hyliion's place? Sure, that could happen, but Hyliion appears to be kind of the first mover, all right? So they have the first mover advantage when it comes to natural gas powered powertrain solutions. So if this standard of natural gas becomes a thing, then it's really hard for me to envision Hyliion fail. Now the danger comes in the sense that what if the industry just rejects natural gas altogether, right? What if the transport industry just goes, oh, we're just going to stick with diesel, or we're going electric, but we're going plug-in electric, or we're going with hydrogen, right? So those are kind of the risks that you have to take when it comes to investing in Hyliion if, something else succeeds as the default standard, right? Yeah, what if all the logistics executives just team up together and call Nikola and be like, we need 10,000 of your Nikola trucks, and make sure it's the ones that actually work, not the ones that you roll down the hill. You know what I mean, right? So in the future, we can go in a different direction than what we expected. And we've seen a lot of times where in the past where companies have thought that the world was going to go a certain way, but then it ended up going a different way, right? So for example, remember 3D TVs? Yeah, those died real quick, right? So you got to ask yourself, do you believe in what Hyliion is presenting? Like, do you believe in their vision, right? So you got to ask yourself why you're in the stock in the first place. So if you got in the stock because it was being hyped up here on YouTube, or you saw the stock price just going up every single day and you just had to jump in and you didn't actually believe in the company, you didn't believe in the vision or something, well then it might be a good idea for you to just exit the stock and take a loss. But for me, I'm of course leaning on the side that Hyliion's solutions are actually going to work. And I think that they're going to slowly start to catch on. Now, they haven't sold that many of their products. Right now, they only have their hybrid solution ready to go, which is not even their Hypertruck ERX system that they're planning to roll out. However, the hybrid solution, it just works with diesel, right? So I've heard some pretty good news about the hybrid solution, though. I think that truck drivers are claiming that, hey, this actually works pretty well, but we'll have to see. And as to which side is right on whether or not Hyliion's vision will work out, I really hate to give a cop-out answer, but I really have to say that it's just simply too early to tell, right? So I don't think that anyone can definitively say right now whether or not Hyliion stuff is going to work out or not as of December 2020. Now, I see a lot of salty people on Reddit, and people are like, oh, I bought into this company a few months ago and I sold for a massive loss today because I realized that Hyliion's idea just sucks and it'll never work out, and I never should have bought into this company. And I'm like, hey, dude, listen, this is an early stage development company, right? Pre-revenue company too, that is trying to change an entire industry who's known as being kind of like an old school industry, right? So the transport and logistics industry, you waited 4 months, right? 4 months, and you didn't see any new developments and you didn't see anything like exciting pop up, and except the stock moving down massively, I guess, right? And you decide that it's not going to work. I don't know, I just think you're a little premature in that statement. Now, as for why Hyliion is crashing, as I mentioned, it's just sentiment, right? So arguably, Hyliion has not been doing that great of a job at marketing as some other companies, like for example, Nikola. All right, so I say that with this being the case, though, I say that would you rather have a company that's focused on marketing, that is not a marketing company, by the way, it's a tech company, right, or a vehicle company, right? So I would argue that would you rather have an electric vehicle company that's focused on marketing, or would you rather have an electric vehicle company that's actually focused on building great products? I've seen people criticize the CEO of Hyliion, Thomas Healy, for not being that active on Twitter. But if you think about it, again, would you rather have a CEO that is focused on building great products or a CEO that just gets into fights with people on Twitter? I got to hand it to Nikola, though. Their marketing is absolutely amazing. And it has pretty much, in my opinion, the reason why the stock is still not to zero, right? I thought that after the Hindenburg report, the company was going to go to zero. But no, right now, it is still a $6.5 billion company. They're worth more than Hyliion still, as of recording this video, right? So if you want to see how the extent of Nikola, how they try to pump their own stock, they put out this video where they compare the Nikola Badger, which, by the way, is a truck that doesn't exist. So they compare the Nikola Badger to the Audi R8. And shout out to Steven from Solving the Money Problem for this video. I couldn't even find the original video. Maybe they took it down, but good thing we have fellow YouTubers here to keep Nikola accountable for this type of crap. Think about how crazy this is for a second, right? They compared the Audi R8 to a truck that doesn't exist. Oh my gosh. So let that sink in, right? But it actually worked out great for Nikola, though. Let me just say that, right? Because the hype around the Badger was a major reason why the stock ran up so high. And it was a great time if you were trading Nikola stock, because you would have probably made a lot of money if you bought low and you sold high. So not such a great time though if you actually wanted to be an investor in Nikola, because the stock kind of went down hard afterwards, right? So yeah, if you're a trader, it kind of sucks that Hyliion's management is not pumping their own stock the way that Nikola is doing. But if you're an investor like me, that shouldn't be too much of a concern if Hyliion's marketing is not good. In the end, actions speak louder than words. And if Thomas Healy is not as active on Twitter as other CEOs, well then that's completely fine with me. I say good. You also got to keep in mind that Hyliion is a B2B business, meaning that they sell to other businesses rather than selling to consumers directly. So marketing to consumers is not really like their big priority right now, right? Being super active on social media, it's not really a top concern for them. Lastly, where do I see the stock going? Well, the stock is in a major downtrend at the moment. So in the short term, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes any lower. So I think it dipped below $16 already at one point. And from a technical perspective, I don't see that much support until maybe like $10, which is super low. So it wouldn't be surprising if the stock dropped to like $10. Now, granted, I actually don't think it will quite drop that low, but you never know. It could, right? So again, if you're an investor and you're focused on the long-term prospects, you shouldn't be overly concerned with the price movements, right? Unless you're in a pinch for money and you really need to like spend the money and take it out of your investing account, which I don't recommend you withdraw from your investing account that often anyways, right? But if you're just like gonna sink money in there and just wait, I say that the short-term price movements of Hyliion, it is just noise, right? It doesn't really matter because we're gonna see whether the idea actually works out or not. So the way that I see it, we'll probably get clearer answers as to whether or not the company is doing well in the next 1 to 2 years. So that's kind of the time frame that you have to keep in mind with this stock. The way I see it, in 3 years, the stock will either be $100 or it'll be $0, right? So there's not going to be any in between, I feel like, because we're going to see whether or not this idea works out or this idea doesn't work, right? And this idea works out, then it's probably going to be a $100 stock. And if it doesn't work out, then it's going to be like a $0 stock, right? They might go bankrupt. So I think that there's very little chance that the stock will stay flat. So that means that everything in between, like 0 to 100, is just noise, right? So whether or not I'm buying more of the stock though, or whether or not I'm averaging down more, I'm not really interested in doing that either, just because I kind of already have a heavy position in Hyliion in my portfolio. So, you know, as much as I believe in Hyliion, is still a very speculative bet compared to a lot of my other stocks. So I don't want it to take up too much of a position in my portfolio. So that's the only reason why I'm not averaging down. But all in all though, I think that this is just one of those stocks where you just gotta lock it away in a filing cabinet and not look at it for like 2 years and just forget that it exists. So, you know, if you're at a point where you're down a lot, I would suggest you just lock it away and you just don't look at it. Just don't look at the price. That's what I do anyways. I'll leave the video here. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about Hyliion, whether or not you think their idea is going to work out and the stock is going to go to $100 per share, or you guys think that it's just going to crash and burn and go to 0. Let me know what you guys think, and let me know if you guys have a position in Hyliion and whether or not you're up or down on your position if you do. I'll leave the video here. Be sure to give it a like if you enjoyed the video and consider subscribing if you like the series. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, links down below in the description as always. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.